Not everyone may know certain things about George Orwell, that his real name was Eric Arthur Blair, for instance, or that he wrote interesting essays and worked for the BBC. But nearly everyone is likely to know about Big Brother, the potent myth Orwell created in his best-known novel, 1984. When he wrote that prophetic indictment of the totalitarian future in wait for mankind, Orwell was already a sick man. He would die at 47 in 1950. His short life had been devoted to writing about social injustice and what he called man's dominion over man. He was born in 1903 in Bengal, India, where his father worked as a British civil servant. At the age of 8, he was sent to England to school and was admitted to Eton, one of England's most exclusive public schools. He had to study very hard in order to win a scholarship. Why? Well, simply because his parents did not have the necessary money. And he was treated badly by other boys for this, so much so that he badly resented Eton's snobbishness. Thus, from the beginning, Orwell suffered from an acute sense of displacement. And that is probably why, after Eton, he refused to go either to Oxford or Cambridge, as it was expected of him, and decided to enroll instead in the Indian Imperial Police in Burma, where he worked or served from 1927 to 1930. Now, he seemed destined to a regular career in the colonial service, but suddenly, unexpectedly, he resigned his commission to escape, as he said, not merely from imperialism, but from every form of man's dominion over man. Orwell returned to Europe with a keen sense of guilt in relation to the working classes, which he never lost. To appease his sense of social guilt, he abandoned his family and friends and worked in London and Paris hotels and restaurants, often associating with tramps and the unemployed. He wanted to share the life of the working classes because he was convinced that that was the only way to write really about their conditions of life. These remarkable experiences are recorded in one of his earliest and best works, Down and Out in Paris and London, 1933. Throughout his life, Orwell remained essentially a left-wing political writer. However, he never let his ideas influence his works. He showed his independence from party politics in Homage to Catalonia, an affectionate but also critical description of the civil war in Spain, where he denounced the manipulation by the Soviet Union of socialist enthusiasts who had flocked to Spain from all over Europe. Orwell's disillusionment with the totalitarian methods of world communism kept growing in the 1940s. It finally came to the surface in Animal Farm, 1945, a satire of the Russian Revolution, which remains one of his most popular works. It's a political fable describing how the animals on a farm rebel against their cruel master and run the farm themselves. However, equality in the world of Animal Farm is just a word. In fact, inequality becomes an article of law. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Orwell's next book was to be his masterpiece, 1984, an anti-utopian novel which describes a future world in which a tyrannical power headed by the dictator Big Brother controls man's actions and thoughts through telescreens and microphones, which are present in every room and on every street. The novel, and especially Big Brother, have become the symbols of the total control of the individual's life by mass media in highly technological societies. With bitter irony, the name Big Brother has more recently become the title of TV programs that have great success worldwide, thanks to the same domination of the individual lives by mass media that Orwell meant to denounce with Big Brother. And it was also bitterly ironic that Orwell should die only a few weeks after the publication of his great novel in January 1950. Now, speaking of Orwell, it would be unfair to leave without saying what was possibly his greatest concern: the corruption of the English language, and not just for stylistic or literary reasons, but because he thought that it brought about the corruption of thought, morals, and politics. He powerfully expressed this in a short, compelling essay published in 1946, which is called Politics and the English Language, where he also set down his rules to avoid bad, insincere writing. Here are some of them. Never use a long word where a short one will do. If it's possible to cut a word out, always cut it out. Never use a foreign phrase, a scientific word, or a jargon word if you can think of an everyday English equivalent. Writing as a means not of showing off one's ability, but to get to the core of things and tell the truth. This is exactly what George Orwell did, and made him what he always wanted to be: the writer as social conscience.